And it's my responsibility as the mayor of Nashville to try and make that happen. Clearly, the victims of this shooting deserve our prayers and our thoughts, but they also deserve leaders who will step up and take action and do something to get these weapons off our streets. For a moment, let's be honest about what happened. Last night, innocent Nashvillians were terrorized by a man with an AR-15. Let's be honest. Some people see these weapons as having a purpose of terrorizing other people. It's happening too much. Enough is enough.
We asked James Shaw to visit with you today. Mr. Shaw, since the shooting, has been to church at Jefferson Street, and he agreed to speak with you. What James is going to do is just tell you from his perspective, from his eyes, what he saw and what he did. And then after James speaks, there'll be other speakers, and at the end, we'll save the end for questions. James, come on up.
How's it going, everybody? So last night I went out with my best friend. We went to a club out in Antioch, the Antioch area. We left the club at about 2:30ish. We actually went to the Bell Road Waffle House first, but it was pretty packed in there, like 2 or 3 times what was in the Murfreesboro Road Waffle House. So we left there, got some gas, and then we went to the Murfreesboro Road Waffle House. Got there, I think, at about 3:17ish. When we got out our vehicles, we both saw the gold Silverado. I actually saw the silhouette of his face, but you can't really just, judge a person just off of that. So we proceeded in. We sat down at the high chairs, tabletops. I was sitting in like the first chair, and my friend was sitting in like the third chair. We had a seat, a chair in between us, and we distinctively remember the cook. The cook was actually washing dishes, and he was stacking the plates up, and he was stacking them pretty high up on the hood to where we were like, those are going to fall off. Well, at the same time he was doing that, another Waffle House employee was actually about to go on his break, and I heard him say, he said, I'm just going to go smoke a cigarette, I'll be right back. So when we first heard what I know now is the gunshot, we thought it was plates crashing, because we had pretty much made that up in our minds that it was the plates were going to fall. Then the second one happened, then a third one happened. I think that's when the glass busted and broke through, and then I saw the Waffle House employees scatter. And then I looked back and I saw a person laying on the ground right at the entrance of the door. So then I jumped pretty much and slid from the tabletop to the entrance of the door. And I think he let off some shots through the glass, and then he proceeded to come in. And then when he proceeded to come in, I actually went behind. It's like a push door, swivel door, and he shot through that door, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure he grazed my arm. And it was at that time that I kind of made up my mind, because there's no way to lock that door, that if it was going to come down to it, he was going to have to work to kill me. So at the time that he was either reloading or the gun jammed or whatever happened is when I ran through the swivel door. I hit him with the swivel door, and then the gun was kind of jammed up and it was pushed down, so we were scuffling. And I managed to get him with one hand on the gun, and then I grabbed it from him, and I threw it over the countertop. And then after that, I was trying to get out the door, and I think he was pretty much in the entranceway, so I just took him out with me, out of the entrance and all the way outside. And then I proceeded to run around, and he had like a walk, trot, pace type of jog that he was doing, trying to get away, and that's kind of what happened.
Now, Matt Espenshade, the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI, who heads the Nashville office.
Afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being out here. I concur that it's a sad day for Nashville, but we tend to come together during these, and unfortunately, we've had to do it a few times here. You know, I'm blessed to be in a profession that is tasked with protecting the people of our communities and our country. But I have to say today, James, thank you for taking that personal oath to protect your community and other people. You're earning a great deal of thanks by everyone in this room and everyone in our community. So thank you very much. I'd like to just say thank you also to the other law enforcement entities in this room, particularly the Metro Police Department. They are outstanding when it comes to cooperating with law enforcement on the local, federal, and state side to resolve these issues. And you have our oath that today, all we're thinking about, all we're working towards is coming to a resolution in this, finding the shooter, putting him in custody, and moving on to the next phase of this investigation. I've come with a prepared statement from the FBI, and I'll read it to you, and then we'll be available for questions later. This was stated by Mr. Aaron before, and I'll state it again. In July of 2017, the FBI Springfield, Illinois field office received information regarding Travis Reinking from the U.S. Secret Service. In coordination with the Secret Service and state and local law enforcement, the FBI took investigative steps to include database reviews and interviews. Coordinated action was taken with the Illinois State Police to revoke Mr. Reinking's firearm owner's identification card.
He's
in the
white,
Tazewell
so they
County
won't do
Sheriff's
that.
Office to then remove firearms from his possession. After conducting all appropriate investigation, the FBI closed its assessment of Mr. Reinking in October of 2017. I feel confident that the FBI took the appropriate steps and did everything within our federal jurisdiction that we could at the time. So thank you for your time.
Now, Todd Hudson, the Special Agent in charge of the United States Secret Service, Nashville office.
Good afternoon. Todd Hudson, Special Agent in charge with the Secret Service, Nashville Field Office. Just like to echo the sentiments that have been stated already. Like my counterpart at the FBI, I have a prepared statement from Secret Service headquarters. Jeffrey Reinking has been identified by the Metro Nashville Police Department as the suspect in the shooting of the in Antioch. Reinking became a record of the Secret Service following a July 7, 2017 arrest by the Secret Service Uniform Division. Officer Reinking was charged with unlawful entry after crossing an exterior security barrier near the White House complex. Information regarding the arrest was provided to our law enforcement partners, including the FBI, at the time of the arrest to ensure appropriate authorities were aware of the circumstances surrounding Reinking's arrest. The Secret Service Nashville Field Office and Secret Service Headquarters divisions are working closely with all law enforcement personnel on this investigation. Thank you.
And now Marcus Watson, the Special Agent in charge of ATF for the Tennessee and Alabama jurisdiction.
Good afternoon. Sadly, this morning, my agents responded to assist our local partners in this investigation. Upon arrival, we were able to identify, with the assistance of our local partners, Nashville Police Department, the firearm used in question, an AR-15. We initiated an urgent trace for that weapon. We've identified when that weapon was illegally purchased in 2011 in Illinois. We provided that information to the investigation. We stand with our local and federal partners in this investigation. I've directed all of my resources available, including K9, our Crime Gun Intelligence Center, to support and offer all resources available to us, to our partners, to make sure that the suspect is found swiftly, and he has his day in court. Thank you.
And now Walt Amer, the president and CEO of Waffle House.
Good afternoon. I'm here to express our condolences to the victims and their families. It is a very sad day indeed for our Waffle House family of associates and customers who are impacted by this tragedy today. All of our attention right now is focused on the victims and their families and our associates who were working that night, and others who are affected and knew the people who were working that night. And we're here to support them in any way we possibly can. I personally want to thank Mr. Shaw. You'll get to meet too many heroes in life, Mr. Shaw, but you are a hero. You're my hero. You saved people's lives, and I talked to some of those people you saved today, and they will think of you for the rest of their days, as will I. We are forever in your debt, and grateful for the courage that you displayed taking care of your fellow man, and so I thank you. I also want to thank Mayor Briley, Chief Anderson, and the brave men and women of the Metro Police Department who are working tirelessly out there at that scene today and searching for this man. And we will do anything we can to help and support your efforts in that regard. Thank you.
Chief Anderson will now take your questions.
So let me say this is a collective effort. Metropolitan Nashville Police Department, Secret Service, FBI, ATF, and also our partners at the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security. The search continues for Mr. Reinke, and that search will continue until he's apprehended. And so collectively, we'll take any questions that you might have.
At this point, based on the investigation, the FBI and other agencies, do you all have any indication into a possible motive?
We do not. We do not. We suspect some mental issues, but at this time, there's no notes, no verbal explanations, so we don't have a motive at this time.
Do you know if he said anything when he was inside the building or outside the building?
I've not got a report of him saying anything at all. He does not, here locally, he does not.
I'm a little confused about the Secret Service stuff when he was later interviewed in Illinois. Was that related to that incident?
He was interviewed in Illinois in relation to his being on the premises of the White House, and I'll let the Secret Service address that. But he was interviewed by the FBI there in Illinois, and also the Sheriff's Department there in Illinois.
And did the father do anything wrong with bringing these guns to his son? Will he face any sort of charges?
You know, I don't know exactly what the law is in Illinois. It's my understanding that the guns were surrendered to him, and that's part of Illinois law because he could properly possess them. And so at some point he returned them to the son. So I don't know of any penalty there, but that's Illinois law, and I'm not familiar with that.
Chief, what was your reaction when you found out that information?
Well, I think that, as the mayor pointed out, we have a crisis, and so you have people's rights to own weapons, but we've got to look closely at people with mental issues and identify those people and make sure that weapons do not, at least legally, fall into their hands. And certainly I think that when you look across the country at any incident similar to this, that there's usually some mental issues involved. And so that's what we've got to work on.
Was he on the radar in Nashville for anything like that?
To my knowledge, no. He not arrested here, and we were unaware. He had not done anything to make us aware of him being on our radar in any manner.
He had 72 weapons. I believe he has two of those weapons left. What are those guns? And do you think he could possibly have more than 73?
Well, we know of 4 distinct weapons that he had in his possession at one time. So 2 of those weapons are accounted for. 2 are not. Where they are, does he have them? Did he discard them in the past? We don't know. And then you have to take into account there could be other weapons in addition to those 4 that he's come in possession of that we do not know about.
What type of guns are they?
One is a long gun, a rifle, and one is a handgun.
The assault style rifle?
The rifle is a long gun. It would be more of a hunting type rifle than an assault rifle.
I know Gordon said that they talked to family and family did into returning the guns to him. Anything else about it?
The families in Illinois, we have not talked with them, with our detectives, but authorities in Illinois have talked with the family.
Have police visited his residence at all here in Nashville?
To my knowledge, no. That we were not aware of him. He had not created any incident that brought him to our attention.
Steve, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Not a report, but I am a concerned father. That's my son right there. I would like to know, does this man have the ability to find out what my son did? Does he still on the ground?
Well, I think in this day and age, when you have the internet at our disposal, there's always that possibility. So we'll work with you, take any precautions. But that's the danger of our society in this day and time. The internet, social media is a valuable tool that everybody uses. But on the other hand, it invades the privacy of most all of us.
A word about Mr. Shaw and the heroic actions he took today.
I don't have words for that. It's beyond belief that he could charge that man and take that weapon from him. So I applaud him. It was a very brave thing to do. And as you heard, he saved lives. So I don't really have words to describe it. It's beyond anything that I could say.
How concerned are you that this man was able to slip through the cracks? He's been on the radar of the FBI. He has had previous encounters with police. How concerned are you about that?
Well, it is somewhat concerning. You balance the right of people to have their privacy. But on the other hand, there needs to be a coordinated effort, especially in terms of mental health issues, to ensure that weapons do not fall into their hands, at least lawfully.
And lawfully, these weapons were not in his hands lawfully.
They were not. They were not. And let me qualify that. They would not have been lawfully in his hands in Illinois. Now, possessing them in Tennessee, I don't know that he would have violated any Tennessee law.
Of the victims here, we see one's an employee, one's a patron. Can you tell us about the other 2? They were employees?
Patrons,
So,
yes.
So one employee.
One employee.
Anything you could say about the people that were murdered there? Is there going to be any sort of tie or reason why they may have been targeted or anything like that?
No, we don't have anything that connects any of the victims except they're being in that location to have a meal, and of course the employee that was working there.
Can we get some clarity on that? Whether it would have been illegal if he had these weapons in Illinois, but if he was within his right to have those weapons in Tennessee?
Well, again, I'm speaking about Illinois law, which I'm not familiar with. But apparently the sheriff seized those guns. So apparently he could not lawfully possess them in Illinois. Apparently in Illinois you have to have a license, so to speak, to possess guns. His was revoked. But under Illinois law, as it has been explained to me, those guns can be released to a family member or other person that does have that proper license. So that was done. And then somewhere between the time they were released and today, the son obtained possession of those weapons. I don't know of any law in Tennessee that he would have violated. Now, again, I have not researched that, but I'm not aware of anything that would have precluded him possessing those weapons.
So, do you know why the guns were seized in the first place? Was it as a result of what happened outside the White House, or would that have made him ineligible?
All right, you're listening to the police chief for the Metro Nashville Police Department there, Steve Anderson, and he's explaining a sequence of events. We've heard a few versions now coming from a variation of authorities there, but right now, many hours after an early morning deadly shooting taking place at that Waffle House in the Nashville area, now a manhunt is underway for a young man identified as 29-year-old Travis Reinking, who officials say may be in possession of 2 more weapons. It is understood that throughout the evening, and you heard the sequence of events, that this Reinking then went to that Waffle House using an AR-15 and unloaded there. 4 people killed, many others injured. But as a result of the heroic efforts of a James Shaw, who also appeared in that press conference, he was someone who was there as a patron in the restaurant, went to the restroom. It appeared as though there was silence, and then he said to himself that he was going to have to work hard, meaning the gunman, to kill him. This young man right here, you see there, he got an injury on the elbow. When he came out of the bathroom, he tackled Reinking, and he was able to toss that AR-15 across the counter, and that struggle then, wrestling, went outside of the restaurant, but then Reinking then was able to get away, and now he has been described as only at the time wearing a jacket. He discarded that jacket, but police say he just might be on the run with possibly 2 other weapons, because they have gone to his apartment and they noticed that there were containers or casings of some sort that would indicate 2 other weapons were missing. You heard the police chief say that he believed it was a long barrel rifle, perhaps a hunting rifle, and a handgun. With me now, James Galliano, law enforcement analyst. There was a lot in that